A huge number of airport workers are on strike. They're fighting for better working conditions and protesting against corporate exploitation. These collective actions are expected to impact 21 airports. So let's get into some details here. So yesterday, cashiers, baristas, bartenders, cooks, and lounge attendants at San Francisco International Airport started an open-ended strike. They're withholding their labor, and that's going to shut down virtually all of the food and drink outlets at the San Francisco airport. This is a major airport. More details from ABC7. About 1,000 restaurant and lounge workers are fighting for raises and guaranteed health care as they've been working without a contract for 3 years now and haven't seen a raise since. Union President Anand Singh says the majority of workers are on strike. They're making $17.05 an hour, a number which workers say is less than the price of one meal at the airport. Oftentimes they're preparing a hamburger or a burrito or a slice of pizza that somebody's paying more than $17 just to buy, so they deserve a lot better shake than they're getting. Our demand is pretty modest, is a pretty modest demand, and one job should be enough, Singh said. One worker regularly spends the night in her car at the airport to save on gasoline and pass the time between her shifts that stretch late into the night and start early the next day. So workers are currently bargaining for a better contract with the multi-employer group, SFO Restaurants, and they're represented by Unite Here Local 2. Union officials have said that the food and beverage workers at the airport are starting to coordinate with workers that work at other major airports across the country. I think it's really glaring that they're making $17.07 an hour, and I think we all know that people pay much more than that for a meal at the airport. And how many meals do they serve? They can definitely afford to give these workers a raise.
Yeah, so do the math on $17 an hour and you get $34,000 a year for salary. So is it hard to live in the San Francisco area on $34,000? Of course it is. Now that woman that Jessica told you about does 2 jobs, and she says I think she works about 60 hours a week. I did the math on that, and that gets her to around $50,000 a year. And she says, I only have enough money for a 2-bedroom. Now, you got kids, you're in a 2-bedroom, you're working 60 hours a week. She often sleeps at the airport in her car, right? Because she doesn't have enough time between shifts. So this is the real world. It's the world that Washington doesn't know anything about and doesn't care about at all. So they're having nonsense culture war fights left and right. And meanwhile, no one's having a debate about, hey, should we have higher wages? Literally, no one is having that debate in DC. So forcing these people to say, God damn it, that's enough, right? Whether they're working the concession stands at the airport or they're the flight attendants. Now look, guys, I'm gonna travel this weekend and I'm in one of the affected airports, LA. And for a second there, I was like, God damn it, I really wanna go on that trip and I'm gonna go with my son and it's gonna be great. And then I thought, no, go get him, go get him. We can't have our cake and eat it too. We can't ask people to stand up for themselves and fight back and then say, but don't inconvenience me, okay? It's okay, let them inconvenience us a little bit. That's how leverage works. So, okay, if I can't go on that trip, it's gonna be heartbreaking for me and my son, but we'll be okay. What's much more heartbreaking is that they're getting $17 an hour and they're getting 1,000 different ways that their employees squeeze them and squeeze them and squeeze the life and pride out of them. And it's enough. So damn right, everyone on cable news is telling you, oh, these labor shortages are terrible. And the Federal Reserve, they're gonna jack up rates until the unemployment goes up and labor loses their leverage and everybody cheers on TV. No, that's not a thing to cheer about. No, it's great that you now have leverage, use it. Make sure you use it.
Yeah, as more and more workers across the country go on strike, it's really important to understand what's really happening here. We have people talking about the rail strike potentially impacting 1/3 of the supply in the country. Shelves will be empty. That's a huge inconvenience. Food prices are already high. Same situation with the airline workers or the airport workers. You're gonna go to the airport and not be able to buy food. That's an inconvenience. Who is at fault here, though? Because the rail workers that potentially will go on strike have been negotiating a contract since 2020. The airport workers have been negotiating for 3 years. So the corporation is at fault here because they've rejected every reasonable deal and given these workers no choice but to withhold their labor to have their demands met, which, as Cenk pointed out, are pretty moderate demands. Now, it's not just the airport workers, it's the airline workers as well. So flight attendants are pretty fed up. Today, United and Southwest flight attendants are expected to stage protests in 21 airports as well to fight for better working conditions as they bargain for a new contract for themselves. More details. At United, flight attendants said their lives have been upended by cancellations and delays, which routinely force them to spend hours unpaid waiting on the phone with the airline's scheduling services. Some attendants slept on cots in airports this summer because hotels were overbooked. The workers said the delays are caused by understaffing within the scheduling division. A quote from Scott Pejas, a United flight attendant. He said, "We are mentally and physically exhausted because instead of getting rest, we're on hold on the phone trying to figure out when we're going to spend the night or if it's a layover. Flight attendants will land somewhere at 10 p.m. and have to wait until 1 a.m. on the phone to find out where they're going to sleep. We're not getting rest." Reporting from Southwest as well. This is Lynn Montgomery, who is also a flight attendant, who said, "I've never seen flight attendants so disheartened. They feel like they've given and Southwest isn't giving back to them. It's way more investor focused these days than employee friendly." So you can hear directly from the workers about what's going on. And they're pretty fed up. They're not doing well. They're not happy with their working conditions. And now we've got the folks who serve you food and drinks and who are cashiers at the airport, as well as the flight attendants who are planning to strike. And we are already in a situation where flying is extremely difficult. We've got Biden with the Competition Council trying to figure out what to do to regulate all of these fees and flight cancellations. And now we have the workers as well going on strike. So what a mess under Pete Buttigieg's watch, but really it's the corporations that we need to hold accountable here.
Yeah, that's right, Jessica. And so I wanna lay the blame at the right feet. So if there is a strike of railroad workers and now we've got the flight attendants, et cetera, everyone in mainstream media will all blame the workers. We showed you the headlines last time when we were talking about the railway strike, CNN saying, the workers could be causing a huge headache for everyone else. No, understand what started the problems. Why do we have supply chain issues in the first place? Because all the corporations outsource the jobs. We have supply chain problems because we're having problems getting material in and products in from China because all those companies made more money by outsourcing the jobs to China. So now they turn around and go, oh, goddamn workers. No, you guys made that decision. And then why do we have problems with inflation? Oh, the wages are too high. Nonsense. They printed like $4 trillion at the Fed and handed it to the giant corporations. When you put in trillions of dollars into the economy, you know what it creates? Inflation. It's economics 101. And by the way, the people in charge, they've all taken Econ 101. They all know that it was the Fed that caused inflation, not higher wages. But they all lie to you in unison. That's amazing. And then anytime that any worker rises up to fight back for themselves, what does the marketing team for corporate rule, AKA mainstream media, do? How dare you, you're causing the supply chain problems, you're causing the inflation problems. Bow your head, obey, and get back into the assembly line. That's our mainstream media today in America.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.